Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today we're going to be going over multiple different wildcard drafts for different scenarios, one with just Salah, one with just Haaland, and then one with both Salah and Haaland. So if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below, leave a comment. Are you thinking of wildcarding in Game Week 4? Subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, the first draft we're going to be going over is one that contains both Salah and Haaland. I think this one's going to be the most sought out after because Haaland and Salah have just been absolutely smashing it so far this season, and I feel like it's just kind of risky to go with only just one of them. But either way, this is the draft with both of them. So in goal we do have Raya and Fabianski. Fabianski's in there obviously just for the injury to Areola. We don't really know how bad of an injury that's going to be, but having a 4 mil playing goalkeeper would obviously be very, very nice, especially because I'm pairing him with Raya, and so obviously you'd probably play Fabianski, who's got I mean, maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't actually. I'd probably still back Raya, actually, who's got Spurs away, and then City away, over Fabianski, who's got Fulham away, and then Chelsea at home. But I know that there's obviously better options as well, like Henderson, who's got Leicester at home this week, etc. Some people are going for Flecken as well, but obviously Flecken also have some pretty bad... Well, they have the exact same fixtures, actually, as Arsenal, just the other way around. So I don't think I'd really go anywhere near Flecken. And plus, when Game Week 6 rolls around, I feel like you're just going to need an Arsenal defender, and Raya is the cheapest one you can bring in, because at Leicester at home, Southampton at home, then Bournemouth away, I just don't think you can miss out on those, and so many people are going to be wildcarding in Game Week 6, and I can't really see a wildcard draft without at least one Arsenal defender. Some might even go with 2. So just for that safety net, I feel like jumping on Raya early would be quite nice. I know after, obviously, Game Week 9, it does get a little bit... After Game Week 8, it does get a little bit worse again with, like, Liverpool at home, Newcastle and Chelsea. But then he's just a set and forget for literally the rest of the season. Like, all the bad fixtures are kind of out the way. The only bad ones that you still got are, like, Liverpool away and City at home. But apart from that, it's just like a sea of green fixtures, really, for Arsenal. So I honestly wouldn't mind just bringing him in, just set and forget. You just have him every week. He's your main goalkeeper. Arsenal, the best defence in the league. 5.5 is the cheapest Arsenal defender you can bring in, really, that's going to play 90. So that's why I'd personally go with Raya. And then at the back, we've got Dunk, Keane, Collins, Trent, and Konza. So a lot of 4.5 mil defenders in this draft here. Dunk with Ipswich at home, obviously very, very nice. Keane, who's only 4 mil. I think he's quite close to a price rise. They have some really nice fixtures coming up after Villa away in Game Week 4. Same with Collins as well. 2 pretty bad fixtures, but then obviously Brentford have some really nice fixtures after that, which is why a lot of people are going to be jumping on like Mbumo and stuff. Trent, I feel like, is not a must-need on a wild card, but I'd be quite worried if I didn't have him. You know, for 7 mil, he just offers you so much more, and he's kind of just like a midfielder at the moment as well. You can the amount of runs that he makes, his on-set pieces and stuff, like, it's kind of just like a 7 mil. So like you'd probably pay 7 mil for a 90-minute Liverpool midfielder. So why wouldn't you pay that for Trent, in my opinion? And obviously he just has the clean sheet potentials as well. And then also Konza as well, who's got Everton at home. So this week you'd obviously play Dunk, Trent and Konza, and then obviously Collins and Keane can kind of just rotate, especially when Dunk's fixtures get bad in Game Week 6 when they've got Chelsea, Spurs and Newcastle. You can easily just play someone else instead, like Collins. They just rotate really, really well. And then, yeah, Konza's just obviously got a really nice fixture run as well, but Trent would be a main defender that you're playing every single week. And then in midfield, we've got Minter, Rodgers, Eze, Diogo Jota and Mo Salah. So I quite like this midfield, especially because when Game Week 6 rolls around, you can just always downgrade Jota to a Mbumo, bring him into your team, that'll be fine. And then as well as that, you do kind of need to be getting rid of Minter around that time as well. I don't think you're going to need 3 Brighton players for the fixture run from Game Week 6 onwards, but you can always get rid of him for somebody else, especially with the money you'll make from downgrading Diogo Jota to Mbumo. You might be able to upgrade Minter to a bit of a better midfielder in that situation. Rodgers obviously a massive enabler. Eze is there as well. I mean, you could always go from him to Mbumo as well if you had the extra money in your bank. But like I say, it's difficult to get like a solid midfield with both Salah and Haaland. Like, I'd really like Saka and stuff in this draft, but I think the money is just like, you've got to sacrifice somebody somewhere, and you could bring Saka in over Diogo Jota if you did get rid of Jackson, and that is obviously something you could do. Like, don't just take this as gospel. Like, don't be like, oh, this is the way I have to go, because you can always downgrade Jackson to like a 4.5 mil striker or something, then just have Saka instead. Alternatively, you could always use that extra money from Jackson to upgrade somebody else. But this is obviously a 3-4-3 formation, and Jackson, I think he's obviously not going to cover Palmer, but at the same time, he is getting minutes. Chelsea haven't signed a striker, and so Jackson kind of is the only one they can really bring in. And his minutes have been okay, like 65, 67, 90, but with the fixturing they've got coming up, I think I'd just take a bit of a gamble on him. And then if, you know, it does all go bad and he starts getting benched and things like that, then you can always get rid of him. There's so many strikers you can downgrade him to, and then obviously just use that money elsewhere. So you could do that. You could obviously just have Saka and then like a 4.5 mil striker as well if you wanted to do that. I'm just going for a different kind of option here, because I feel like if you did go for the Saka route and the 4.5 mil striker, you'd have to play Rodgers and Minty every single week. And I just, with Champions League coming up for like Rodgers and stuff, and obviously Minty, the fixtures aren't ideal. I don't think it's something you're going to be wanting to do every week, so it's just kind of a way out of that. But at the same time, you could always downgrade Jota, bring in Mbeumo now, and then upgrade Jackson to somebody like Havertz, and that's also something you could do. But again, there's loads of things you can mix and match with it. But the kind of funds are a little bit tight for this sort of draft, just simply because Haaland and Salah and Trent, you know, they take up so much of it. But either way, that's the draft with both Haaland and Salah. Moving on, we have our Salah-only draft next. So the goalkeepers are the same. The goalkeepers are the same for all these drafts. I just, like I say, you could go for a 4.5 mil goalkeeper. I just think Raya will just be set and forget. Like, most people are going to be jumping on him on a Game Week 6 wildcard. I think you just bring him in now. Don't worry about it. He might have some price rises and stuff as well. And they can keep a clean sheet against, you know, Spurs and City. And as well as that, like, who else are you going to bring on a wildcard draft as well? Like, maybe Flecken, maybe Henderson, players like that. You know, Henderson could potentially be keeping a clean sheet. But the only other major option I'd probably go with is, like, maybe Sanchez or Martinez. But at the same time, I just think Raya he's just the best option. I'm just going to sit on that hill. You know, I don't see how it goes wrong. They're the best defence in the league. He's the cheapest way into that Arsenal defence. 90-minute man. And his bonus points have just been good this season as well. It's not even like he's just a 6-pointer like merchant. He's actually like getting really good bonus points as well. But either way, Raya and Fabianski. The back hasn't really changed too much, but instead of who have I got rid of him? I got rid of Collins, and I brought in Porro as well. Again, you wouldn't have to play Porro this week if you didn't want to. You could just play Konza, Dunk, and then Trent, and then obviously for the fixture run that Spurs have got coming up after Arsenal, you're more than fine to play Porro in those. So yeah, it's just a bit more of an attacking fullback if you did need the money for anything else. Obviously, you can just downgrade him to a different defender. But that's kind of the back there. Obviously, I'm not going to be going over the players I've already gone over because I've already gone over them. But yeah, Porro's a new one in that defence there. And then in midfield, it doesn't really change too much, but instead of Minty, we've gone Palmer, just simply because, you know, he's on penalties. I know that he's flagged at the moment, but I think he's going to be absolutely fine. He's also not been named in, like, the Conference League games as well, so that's obviously really good for minutes. You know, it just means he's going to be more likely to play in the Prem and everything. So I really like Palmer as an option. Obviously very, very expensive, but he's just had a really good start to the season. Already gone over Rodgers. Eze, I don't think we went over Eze, but like I say, Eze, 90-minute man, penalties. Finally got his goal, obviously, at the weekend. He's got the points that people were expecting from him. And again, if you always wanted to, you could just go in Mbeumo if you wanted to a little bit earlier. But at the same time, this is another 3-4-3 formation, so it's not like you have to play Rodgers every single week, which I like, because even though he's been playing really, really well, it's not somebody that I want to have to play every single week. I'd more like him as like a really good bench option. And then yeah, Diogo Jota, Salah, just because of the 3 fixtures that have got coming up, I just like, I feel like you have to have 3 Liverpool players for these fixtures. And I think Salah, Trent, and Jota or Diaz, obviously it's completely up to you. I think they're the kind of same price, aren't they? I don't think they are much different. Diaz is actually 7.6. I think Jota is as well. It's just obviously I started the season with Jota. So they're both 7.6 regardless. So it's literally a flip of a coin. Neither of them are on penalties. They're getting similar minutes. Like Diaz got 90, 71, 65. Jota got 78, 71, 75. So they're getting very similar minutes. So it's literally a flip of the coin, whichever you want it to go with. And again, you can always downgrade one of them to Mbeumo in Game Week 6 regardless, you know, when they've got Wolves away. So I don't mind that at all. And then up front, João Pedro, Isak, and Havertz. I really like this front 3. Havertz has been playing really, really well, especially internationally as well over the break. And you know, he's got 12 points, 2 points, 8 points. The fixtures again, not ideal, but he's not a replacement for Saka by all means either. If you wanted to obviously bring Saka in instead, then you just downgrade Havertz to someone, bring Saka in over Jota. But I don't know. I feel like for the next few fixtures, I think Jota plus Havertz are probably going to outscore Saka plus like a 4.5 mil striker. And then Isak's also in as well. Again, I don't really like what I've seen so far from Isak this season. He's obviously got a goal in the last week, but it was just a tap in. Newcastle haven't looked great. And Wolves away is obviously a really nice fixture, but after that they've got Fulham away, City at home, and then Everton away. So some quite tough defences to break down. I mean, Everton obviously nowhere near as good as they were last season, but you know, Fulham and City I don't think are going to be easy games by any means. And then also João Pedro as well. Just I feel like he's going to be on every single wildcard draft. He's just on penalties. Minutes are really, really good. Brighton's fixtures are really good over the next couple. And I don't even mind playing him in like the tougher fixtures as well, like Chelsea away, Spurs at home, Newcastle away. Like I'd be more than happy to play Pedro in all of those fixtures. So that is the Salah only draft, and then the Haaland only draft looks kind of similar. Same defense that we've already gone over, same goalkeepers really. The only difference in this one, I think obviously instead of Salah, I've downgraded to Saka. Brought in Palmer as well, got minted back in. Diogo Jota's still there for that Liverpool cover. And then up top it's just João Pedro and Haaland, and then obviously Yui Joe from Forest, who obviously you're not going to be playing. So it's going to be a 3-5-2 formation here as well, which I do really like the midfield here as well. And again, you can always downgrade Jota to Mbeumo. I really like the Jota to Mbeumo move in game week 6, and I think if you're on a wildcard for, it's just an easy thing to do because you don't have to worry about the money. Like he's easily downgradable, and then you've got Mbeumo for the fixtures with the penalties and everything like that. So I do like that switch. Obviously, you're locking in a transfer in a couple of weeks, but I don't think you'd really need to use a transfer for anybody before that. Really, you're going to be wanting to transfer maybe like a Brighton player out as well, but you'll have a couple of free transfers by then as well. And as well as that, you won't have to use a transfer on any Arsenal defense because you're already going to have Raya and stuff. So yeah, for me, I feel like the Haaland Salah draft is the safest option. I really do like the draft. I like the 3 Brighton players for Ipswich and Forest. It's just the only bad thing is you are locking in probably a transfer to get Jota out, and then obviously a transfer to get one of the Brighton players out. But it's not like an immediate thing you need to do. Like I don't mind playing Brighton attackers in these fixtures against like Chelsea, who have got, you know, not the greatest defense. Spurs, who don't have the greatest defense. You know, Newcastle, that have been a little bit shaky this season. I don't mind playing Brighton attackers against those. And again, with this draft, Jackson's just a little bit of a punt, really. You can always just downgrade him and bring in somebody else if you wanted to. Maybe upgrade Rodgers if you wanted to. But like I say, I like the Jota to Mbeumo move. But again, if you didn't like that, you go with someone else. The only reason Jackson's here is because they haven't brought in a striker. And yeah, okay, players can obviously play in that role. I don't know, I feel like having an actual number 9 would be better than just playing somebody out of position. And you're only going to have him for a few fixtures anyway. If it all goes wrong, he's just an easy transfer out for somebody else. Or if you had the money, then you can always upgrade him to Havertz as well. So either way, those are just 3 drafts that I put together. I'll probably put together like a better updated one like later on down the line if there's any injuries and stuff. But either way, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below. Leave a comment. Which draft would you rather go with if you were on Wildcard this week? Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell. It's everything from me. Have a great rest of your day. And until next time, peace.